Hey there, welcome to Google Ads Search 101. I'm so excited that you're here, taking this course and embarking on this journey. My name is Brandon Yora, and I'll be taking you through this journey. I'm a digital marketer for the past 3 years at Google, focusing specifically on Google Ads. So I promise I'm credible with what I'm about to share with you. So, let's go ahead and get started. I know you're excited. Hey, you made it. Welcome to our first module. We've got a lot to talk about, and we're going to dive in quickly. So I hope you're ready. In module 1, we're going to talk about everything that's included in this course, which is a whole bunch of information, but we've broken it down into bite-sized pieces so it's easy for you to understand. Then we're going to start with some pretty important introductory topics before we start talking about specifically Google Ads and search marketing. Those are going to be what the difference between online and offline advertising is, because it's a very important difference to note. So what's that difference between the billboard that you saw on the road versus what we're talking about here? People online searching, trying to market to them. Very big difference. Then we're going to finish up the module by talking about why digital marketing matters. So you go into this course knowing that this is important. Whether you want to be a future entrepreneur, you're thinking about studying business in the future, whatever it may be, this is going to be a great course for you. And we're really going to understand, why should you care about digital marketing? How is it going to affect your life, your career? And why is it so interesting and potentially lucrative to know this skill? All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about what is in this course. What's included in Google Ads Search 101? A whole bunch of information. So let's go through it. In our first module, which is the one that we're in right now, what we're going to talk about is, first of all, you see the introduction, which you just heard. Now we're talking about what's included in the course. Then we're going to specifically talk about the difference between online and offline advertising. Very important. Next, we'll talk about why digital marketing matters. After that, we'll move on to module 2, which is really focusing on search marketing and why Google search. So you could see that we'll go through another introduction. SEO versus SEM, very important differences. Search engine optimization, search engine marketing, very different. We'll talk about this. Why Google search, one of the biggest search engines, the biggest search engine. Setting up a Google Ads account. So then we'll be diving deep into Google Ads specifically. Next, we'll talk about in module 3, actually in the platform, these different things that you're going to need to know. Keywords, creatives or ads, bids, budget. So how much are you spending on that advertising, and how do you structure what we call campaigns in the platform that are going to work? And again, we're talking specifically about search in this course. Module 4, we will then talk about, okay, you learned the basics. How do you put it together? And then review that information to know that you're doing a good job. So what is the optimizations after you create these things? How do you measure the results of what you're doing with search marketing? You want to make sure you're spending money and not wasting it, right? Which we can see that. We're going to talk about the search terms report, which is a very important way to see what is driving traffic or people searching for what you're trying to sell them. And then finally, we'll talk about the optimization score, or the recommendations tab, which is a really nice feature when you're just getting started and as you're moving forward to apply recommendations. And I'll explain what's good and what isn't. And that's the course. So lots of information, like I said, but we're going to take it step by step, and I really hope you have a great time. So let's move on and let's talk about the differences between online and offline advertising. Let's talk about the difference between offline and online advertising. Now, this is the last and first you'll hear about offline advertising because this course is about online paid search marketing advertising. So we're just going to talk about it briefly here, but it's important to know the difference. And I'm also not saying that it's completely irrelevant, meaning you shouldn't do any sort of offline advertising. Offline advertising is, as the name sounds, everything that isn't on the internet. So think billboards as you're driving down the street. Think print media, so magazines. Think word of mouth marketing, right? People going to your school campus or and those people that talk about that brand. That's offline advertising. Then on the flip side, you have online advertising. The internet is invented, and then we're talking about how do you reach people on this crazy thing called the internet? How do you market to them and show that your business is special and interesting? That's where online marketing comes. And it's exciting because unlike offline advertising, you can measure the results. You could see the effectiveness of where you're spending your money and your energy and your time. And that is exciting for marketers around the world. Online marketing is a whole mix of different stuff. Again, we're talking about Google Ads, search specifically, but you could also do display, which is all those image ads that you see pop up when you're on websites and you're like, how the heck did they know that? And then there's also video. If you're watching your favorite YouTube video and then boom, the ad comes on, you're like, what the? But it gets, a lot of attention. And have you ever clicked on one of those ads? I know I have. That's how I ended up with an amazing pair of shoes. It got me. So there's different types of online advertising. And again, the importance of this is that it is measurable. That is the difference. These two can exist simultaneously. Don't get me wrong there. You can have a billboard and a website that you advertise online. You should do both. Am I going to talk to you about offline advertising anymore? No, I'm not an expert on offline advertising. But if you want to learn more about billboards, I'm sure there's lots of information out there. And this course, though, we're talking about online advertising, paid search marketing, Google Ads. So let's talk about why digital marketing, online marketing, you'll hear it called different things, means the same thing. Marketing on the interweb, the internet. Why does it matter? Why should you care? Why does digital marketing matter? We already talked about one reason. It's measurable. You can go back, you can see what worked and what didn't, and then take action on that. That's huge. But there's more reasons than that. With digital marketing, you're able to target your customer and send the right message at the right time for the right price that works for you and also is going to be enough to capture that customer and earn their business. That is some targeting, my friend, and it's exciting that we live in a time that we can get that granular when trying to learn and then act on who our customer is. That's why digital marketing matters, to understand who our customer is and how do we reach them so they ultimately purchase our product or service. All right, let's move on. Welcome to the next module. In this module, we're going to talk about the differences between SEO, or search engine optimization, versus SEM, search engine marketing, which this course is mostly about. Then we'll move on to chatting about why Google search specifically is really special and the place you want to be to get started in paid search marketing. And then we're going to end this section by getting you signed up with your Google Ads account. Very simple steps to do that. That way, you'll be ready for our next module when we're going to go into that Google Ads account together, and we're going to be talking about all the different parts and pieces in there, what they mean, how they work, and where to find them. So let's jump in. SEO versus SEM. Very close sounding acronyms, but one letter difference means a lot. Let's talk about SEO first. SEO, search engine optimization, is focused on optimizing your website's ranking on organic search results. The keyword there is organic. They're not paid. That doesn't mean that money isn't spent on getting your website to that point on that first search results page of Google, but you're not actively paying money to get on those search results because you can't. Then there is SEM, search engine marketing. Search engine marketing, usually when people are talking about SEM, they're talking about paid search advertising, which is what this course is mostly about. The difference there is that it is paid. You might have seen when you go on Google search and say, I'm looking for groceries near me. At the top, there might be up to 3 ads in that top section, and you'll know because they'll say a little ad next to them. Then imagine there's an iron curtain dividing those 3 paid ads from the organic search results, which can go on for pages and pages. Organic search results take time, take a long time. You have to make the necessary changes to your website, like adding keywords and making sure that you have lots of blog content and increasing your web page speed. Those are just small things that could have a big impact. Then with SEM, you can have an impact right away. You can start a Google Ads account and start paying for your ads to show up, even if you just launched your website today. So that's what's so exciting about the paid side of things. Both of them, though, they have an impact on your overall business strategy, of course, and should be used simultaneously. Maybe you do one first and the net one second when you're starting your business or launching your website. Maybe it takes time for you to have the budget to prepare to pay for these search ads. So you want to work on your website. And if you're patient, it may take even years for you to get on that first search page, that first search result page. But it'll be worth it because you'll be there for a while, and it has that long-standing ability to improve trust with your customers. When you see someone on the first page of the results, when you're searching, you tend to trust them more than if they go to the next page. And how many people actually go to the next page? Not many. But again, they work simultaneously, and it informs your business strategy, and they both can drive traffic to your website, whether I type in your brand and it pops up in the organic search results, or if you pay for those ads that show up at the top, and we'll talk about the keywords that you target for that in the next module. Either way, both so important. But if you forget everything from this section, just remember that usually when people are talking about SEO, that is organic, that is unpaid, and SEM, that is pay per click, that is paid search advertising, and you could start right away. Why Google search? Besides the fact that we don't even say search anymore, we say just go Google it, right? Isn't that enough to say why you should be on Google search? But no, seriously, there is two main reasons why Google search is so powerful. Number one, it, and most important of all, is a huge database of information and therefore has the largest database of intent of customers. Intent is the key word there. Intent to purchase. That's what Google search is able to show. When someone, no matter where they are at in the buying process, you could see that in the search path that they take. Think about when you go to buy a pair of shoes. You might first start with researching what the best brand is, or what is the most comfortable shoe. You're not actually in the market, but you're starting those searches. And then you can, down the road, be ready to purchase, and then you're typing in something that's like shoes near me or Nike shoes near me. And that's you ready to buy. So throughout that process, you can target those different people, and they could be different, or that same person along that journey of theirs until they ultimately convert, which whatever that means for your business, a lead, a purchase, a consultation. Intent is what Google has. Then there's the reach. It's the largest search engine with over 1 billion users. So there's a lot of people that could be your potential customer. You just got to find out. And with that large of a group of people, and with the ability to have that intent, that information about where they are in the buying process, that combines together to make Google search what it is. Congratulations, we're nearing the end of this module. But before we move on, we have to get you started on Google Ads. So we're going to walk through the easy 4 steps to get you signed up. If you already have an account, this is going to be even easier. Just sign in. If you don't have an account yet, listen up. You'll see here on the screen that you're first going to go to ads.google.com. And if, again, you're starting a new account, you're going to click Start Now. Then it's going to ask for an email. If you already have a Gmail address, you can use that. Otherwise, you're going to have to make a new Google Ads account with a Gmail email address. Once you select the right email, click Continue. Easy 3rd step. And then, finally, you're going to sign in, and you're going to be in your new Google Ads account. The first thing you're going to see is it's going to show a simple screen to start with some basic campaigns. But if you scroll to the bottom, there's going to be a section that says, I'm a pro marketer, let's move forward. Click that, and then you'll be in the interface, which is where we're going to start in our next module, where we're going to take apart the interface and talk about keywords, creatives, which are ads, campaigns, everything that you need to know to get started. It's going to be a lot when you first log in. Don't freak out. It's okay. Trust me, we're going to go through this together, and you'll be up and running in no time. Welcome. This next module is going to be a lot of fun. Why? We're going to go into that Google Ads account of yours, and we're going to break apart all the pieces to understand what they are and what's crucial to you being successful in this platform with paid search. We're going to start talking about the most specific of those pieces, which is keywords. And then we'll move on up the chain talking about creatives, or you could call them your text ads. Then we'll move on to discussing bids and budget, both very crucial to the success of a campaign. How much money do you need to spend, or where can you start, and what bid strategy you should use This will also include discussions about automation, or you'll hear it called smart bidding, and we'll talk about that. Then we'll end this module by really talking through putting all those pieces together, what makes a great campaign structure that's gonna work well for you and your business. So let's jump right in. Make sure you have your Google Ads account up on your computer screen, and let's walk through this together, shall we? Before we jump into our Google Ads accounts, we need to understand some basics. First question we need to answer is, what is a keyword? A keyword, you could think of it as a word or words that best represent your product or service. What do you want me to type in when I go to Google search that will then show your ads? What do you not want me to type in? And then if your ads show that would be a bad thing, those would be your negative keywords. So if, for example, you're a premium store, you're going to want to make sure that premium is a word that is incorporated into the keywords that you add into your Google Ads campaign. Because if I type in cheap store near me, you don't want to show up then, because that isn't your ideal customer. You'll want to put that as a negative keyword. That's how you could tell the difference between a keyword and a negative keyword. What do you want me to search for? And then you pop up. That's a keyword. What do you not want me to search and potentially pop up for, which you would be spending money on something that clearly isn't right for you or your business. Now let's talk about keyword match types. There's keyword match types. You could think of keyword match types as what gives keywords the ability to be more flexible or not as flexible to match what someone is typing in on Google, and then ultimately your ads pop up. So for example, with the premium store, we'll say premium grocery store. If you want to make sure that you only show up for when I'm typing in premium grocery store and not premium grocery store near me, then you would put premium grocery store in brackets when you're putting your keywords into your account, and that is called exact match. Then, if you wanted to still show up for premium grocery store near me, you would want to put in quotation marks around premium grocery store, and you would then still show up for premium grocery store near me, premium grocery store California, premium grocery store worldwide. When you add quotation marks around your keywords when you upload them, that's called phrase match. Now, there used to be a match type in between broad and phrase match that allowed for a little bit more flexibility, called BMM, or broad match modified. But as of the filming of this course, that is going away. So the last match type is broad. And broad is inputting your keywords without any sort of quotations, which was phrase, or brackets, which was exact. It would just be, in the example of the premium grocery store, premium grocery store. That's what you would type in and add it as your keyword. That is going to show for all the things that we already talked about, premium grocery store near me. But it's also going to show for luxury grocery store, expensive grocery store. So be aware of that. But it is a great place to start if you're still not sure what are going to be the terms that really drive performance for your business. We are now in a Google Ads account. Make sure you have yours pulled up, and you could pause and start this video at any time and go through the steps alongside me. So the first thing that we're going to look for is make sure that you're starting out in the overview section. Should look something like this. You'll find that on the left side And this is the navigation panel to go between the different parts of your ad campaigns and your account here. This pop out here in the darker gray is going to be where you'll find the various campaign types. So besides search, you could do video, display, discovery. But of course, in this course, we're just talking about search. So I'm just going to click on search, and it's just showing search campaigns. And then from there, we're going to go down and talk about keywords. And you'll see here, this is where you'll find on the left side your active keywords. To toggle what is active and what isn't, you could click this keyword status filter right here. And you'll see the keywords that you have enabled. Now, you could also see what your negative keywords are, what you don't want to show up for, as we talked about. And we'll talk about, in the next module, the search terms report, which will actually show you what people are typing in that ultimately triggered the keywords that you had set here. And then you could take action on that. So hopefully you were able to find where the keywords are at. When you're ready to add new keywords, just click this blue plus sign. And you're going to choose which campaign you want to add them into. Select that. And here is where you'll put in your keywords. So as we talked about before, if you wanted to do broad match for premium grocery stores or store, this would be broad match. If you wanted to make that phrase match, this is phrase match. And if you wanted to make this exact match, this is exact match. Now, if you're having trouble coming up with keywords to use, you can go to the wrench icon up here, Tools and Settings, and then underneath Planning, you should see Keyword Planner. From here, click Discover New Keywords, and I'm going to type in grocery store because I know that part. Get results, and this is going to tell me what some good keywords I could add in potentially are. It's going to tell me how competitive it is. It's going to tell me how many monthly searches. This is in the US. You could always change that to other countries, what language it's in, and the date range it's looking at. But this, whether you're just starting out or optimizing and expanding later on, is a great place to find what your next keyword or keywords will be. You can see here that when I type in grocery store, over 6 million monthly searches. There's a lot of people searching grocery store, but maybe there's something that makes sense. Maybe supermarket near me, still very high volume number of monthly searches that are happening, relatively low competition, and how much is it going to cost for me to, on average, go after that. Now we're going to talk about creatives. Creatives are super important to a successful search campaign because that's what the customer that you want to attract sees and then hopefully acts on, clicks, and goes to your website. How do you make sure that they click that ad? How do you make sure it stands out? And that's what we'll be talking about. There are different pieces of an ad that make it what it is. There is a headline, which is the larger font text that is supposed to draw in your customer. Then there's the descriptions, which are the smaller font below the headlines to tell me more information about what I'm about to click on. And then there is the URL, which is the link that I see that when I click on it takes me to your website. Those pieces combine together in different combinations to then find the right ad to show to that person that's going to make them have the highest chance of converting or purchasing your product, let's say. You get up to 15 headlines and 4 descriptions per ad that you create. If you're having trouble figuring out how do you fill all those slots, don't worry. A great place to start is adding in your keywords that we just talked about into your headline, and make sure they're in your description too. That's going to make it more relevant to the user because, of course, if they type in premium grocery stores, we'll use that example again, then you want your ad to have premium grocery stores somewhere in there, right? That's going to be step 1. You can try different call to actions as headlines. Learn more, shop now, buy today. All of those could perform differently. You can try different meanings of the same phrase. Visit us now. Come into our store. You want that in the descriptions and headlines. Have those different variations. And of course, make sure to include text in both your headline and description that covers what your product or service is. Also, what works really well is any sort of differentiating factor that your business has versus others that you want to call out. Maybe it's free shipping. Maybe it's world-class customer service. What is that unique selling point about your idea, your business? Make sure you put that in your ad. Price can be a great addition to your headlines or descriptions if it's a strong selling factor. If you are a luxury type brand, then you probably want to make it clear that it is a higher price range. So have that in your ad. It'll be more effective. If you are a lower priced business, then include your price if that could be appealing because you're trying to target people that are looking for something that's more affordable. If neither of those apply, then you should leave price out of your ads, and they'll get to that later on when they're actually on your website. If there's any discounts or promotional information that you can add in, be sure to put that in your ad as well. That covers where you can start to fill those 15 headlines, those up to 4 descriptions, and then you'll have a great responsive search ad ready to go. All right, so now you're in your Google Ads account, and together we're going to find where to create your first ad. Make sure we're on the same page here. So start in the Overview tab of your account on the left side. From there, if you scroll down, you'll see Ads and Extensions. What you want is ads, and it should take you there as the first place. So to add or create your first ad, click that blue plus sign in a circle, and then you're going to choose responsive search ad. Choose your ad group, and it's very possible that it will auto-populate some of this information based on your web page. And let's just go through some different things here on the screen. The first item you'll see is final URL. As we discussed, this is the link that you will take people to when they click your ad.
This is the display URL. This is the URL they see. You can adjust this and add it to make it more custom, but it's not necessary. And then as you scroll further, you'll see those 15 headlines that you can input, and also the 4 descriptions. Some of them may be hidden. You just have to press plus headline or plus description. And again, it might auto-populate if it was able to pull information from your web page or based on the keywords that you already have. From here, this is a good way to see that the different headlines and descriptions that you could add in, it's also referenced. Include your popular keywords. Make your headlines more unique, your descriptions unique. And this is your overall ad strength. So if you follow all those, it should come out to good or excellent. So you'll see that when I was advertising this course, the keywords that were super important to me were Google Ads course and Google AdWords course. So I wanted to make sure that those were in there. And you'll see Google Ads course as a headline. Learn Google Ads Search, Google Ads Academy. You have a price headline. You have call to actions, enroll now, learn more. We have unique selling points, Google Ads Expert, highly rated courses. In the description, you could repeat many of those, and you could also add in more detailed information, try shorter descriptions, introducing Google Ads Academy Search 101 Buy Now versus something longer, as you can see here. Try short and long descriptions. And once you're ready, go ahead and press save at the bottom. And congratulations, you just created your first ad. Now, if you want to measure the results of that ad, just go back to the same section where you first went to create your new one, and you'll see View Asset Details. Click on that, and you'll be able to see what headlines and descriptions Google is showing the most to customers, which show you that these are good, you should keep them. And you could also see the combination version, which isn't there because there's no data, but combination of the overall ad, headlines, descriptions, which ones showed the most and performed the best. And with that information, you could create new ads. You could find new keywords. So be sure to check after you have a week or two of data or more in that asset details section underneath your ad.
Now it's time to talk about one of the most important topics to understand within Google Ads that could really make or break your account. And that is bids and budget. And we're going to be really focusing on bidding, what makes up bidding, and bidding strategies. So when we're talking about bidding, it really comes down to an equation, which is where your ads show, and if they show at all, which is called ad rank, depends on your quality score as well as your willingness to pay, or what do you set as your bid. Another way that you could think about this is driving a car. Driving a car to go a certain distance, you're going to need fuel, gas, electric, and you're going to need a good quality engine so you can start and continue moving in that car. You can think of the engine as our quality score, and you could think of the fuel as our bids, our willingness to pay. The more that we add fuel to our vehicle, the further it's going to go. The more we bid against our competitors, against people on the same keywords, the further our ads are going to go, the higher they will rank. But it's not just that. Google cares about relevancy. We want our users to go and find an experience that is relevant to what we just searched, right? So to ensure that it's not just all about who bids the most, it is about relevancy, you have quality score. You need a good quality engine. You need that quality score to get your ads to do more for you, to show higher up in that ad ranking. If you have a competitive bid and you have a good quality score, that is how you win those ad auctions, how your ad shows up in the top position or in the second to first position. And that's where you want to be, because that is going to increase your likelihood of being clicked on dramatically. Let's break down quality score further, because there's multiple pieces that make up that quality score. There's three main pieces: your expected click-through rate, your ad relevancy, and your landing page experience. And all three of those equally come together to decide what is the quality of your ad for that keyword. So it is on the keyword level, and that's important to know. This means that you may have a good quality score for one keyword and a bad quality score for another. Expected click-through rate is the prediction on how likely Google thinks that someone is going to click on your ad. Now, that may seem confusing, but there's things that you can do to help this. What would help increase click-through rate is making sure to add call to actions that draw someone's attention, or again, those unique selling points like free shipping in the ad text or headline, or expert craftsmanship to really draw in those people that are looking for high quality products. Those type of additions into your ad text can really help improve that expected click-through rate. Ad relevance is all about making sure that what I'm typing in as my search term on Google, your ad should relate to that. It should be relevant to what I just searched. So if I search nice shoes near me and then your ad shows shirts, that is not a relevant ad because I was looking for shoes. So of course your ad should relate to the keywords that you're bidding on. An easy way to increase this is just make sure that the keywords that you're bidding on are found within your ad description and headline. And if you do that, that'll get you a really great start. Also make sure that the keywords that you're targeting are on your landing page, your website, because it's all part of the process. We want it all to be relevant. The ad that I'm clicking on has the keyword that I searched, and then the ad takes me to a landing page that also contains those keywords that I searched, which increases that relevancy and ultimately my likelihood to purchase from you. And the last piece is the landing page experience. And as the name suggests, this is all about your landing page, making sure that it is high quality. If I go there on a mobile device, is it mobile friendly, or does it look strange on my phone and I can't do the things that I can do on a normal desktop computer? That is going to lower your landing page experience and ultimately your overall quality score. Or it can be your loading time for your website. If it's longer than just a few seconds, you're going to have a lot of people dropping off, and that's going to tell Google that this isn't a good landing page experience. Either it's taking too long in that case, or when I get there, it's not relating to what I typed in, as we talked before, so similar to ad relevancy. So that is also important. Again, making sure the keywords are there, and just making sure that the landing page is a good experience for the user. When they get there, easy for them to navigate, because you'll have more people leaving faster if it isn't clear where they should go. The lead form isn't at the top of the page, or buy now isn't where I would imagine it would be. That is going to, again, decrease your landing page experience and decrease your quality score, which will decrease your ad rank. So it all comes together that way. In your search campaign, when you're setting it up, you'll be able to choose what's called a bid strategy. And we're going to talk about 3 different bid strategies. All of them are what we call smart bidding, or they are a automated bidding strategy that focuses on what you put in as conversions. So that's why it's very important that before you even choose your bid strategy, you set up your conversion tracking. What do you want me to do when I get to your website? Do you want me to take the action of purchasing your product? Then that's your conversion. Are you trying to draw more awareness to your site? Then maybe you're focusing on clicks and just driving that traffic. Make sure that you're tracking getting to a certain page, or you're tracking lead form submissions and how many people sign up for your free consultation. Make sure that is the conversion, the action that you are tracking, because that is what these bidding strategies are going to use to then spend the money that you put into your budget accordingly. The first bidding strategy is maximize conversions. And as the name sounds, it's all about getting the most conversions as possible within your budget. This is a great strategy if you are limited by budget and you don't have a ton of money to spend, or a good amount of money to spend, and you can set that budget and it will try to get as many of what you put into that conversion tracking as possible. Let's use leads, for example. Submitting a lead form, it will try to get as many lead form submissions as possible within the money that you set for your budget. This is a great way to start if you're not sure what your cost per lead is, your cost per purchase that you're willing to spend. Use maximize conversions, and you can always move to one of the other strategies we're going to talk about once you find that ideal cost that you're willing to spend to acquire that customer. Maximize conversions, you can start with 0 conversions or hundreds of conversions. The more you have, though, the more data you feed these strategies, the better they're going to perform. Then there's target CPA, or target cost per acquisition. What is the amount that you're willing to pay to acquire your customer? The amount that you're willing to pay to get that conversion, to get that lead form submission. You can set that CPA dollar amount to say, I am only willing to pay up to $20 to get this lead form submission. That doesn't mean that it is just going to be one person and if they cost $20. No, keep in mind, that is how many clicks that could happen and the cost overall that you'd like the system to try to achieve. And maybe if you have a $20 cost per acquisition that you set, it takes 10 clicks at $2 per click, and 1 of 10 actually converts. 1 of 10 purchases your product fills out that lead form. Then you were able to achieve that goal that you set. But it's very important to set realistic goals, because if you see that your ads aren't running, the keywords aren't spending any money, it's probably most likely due to the fact that your target CPA that you set is too strict, and the system is telling you that it is not an achievable goal, and therefore you're going to have to increase that bid in order to be competitive in those ad auctions against your competitors. So again, if you're not sure what you're willing to pay for acquiring that lead, that customer, start with maximize conversions and then see where things fall in terms of your cost per acquisition. And you could always switch over to target CPA, target cost per acquisition, once you know what that bid amount is. But if you know for sure, you can start off and maybe you'll give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, go 10 to 15% higher than what you'd like the goal to be. If you'd like it to be $15, put it at $17 and see what comes in. Is it possible? And you could always lower it in small increments as you find out more about the people that you're trying to acquire as customers. Last but not least, there is target ROAS, or target return on ad spend. This is all about revenue. This is about knowing what your margins are and being able to drive more revenue for your business. So if that is a strategy that is important for what you are selling, then target ROAS could be the right fit for you. Now, it's important to note that in order to even think about using target ROAS, you want to be up and running for a while. It needs a good amount of data to work well, and you really need to make sure that whatever conversion that you are tracking, whether it's a lead or a purchase, it has to have a value associated with it. So then it could tell Google to get more of what drives that value. If it's a phone call, if it's a lead form, you have to put a value even if you don't get a sale off of that. Again, so the system knows what it's worth to you, and it's going to focus on trying to go after opportunities to show to the right person that is going to return the most ad revenue for the spend that you put in, the cost of your advertising, right? It's going to try to get more high converting value customers. That's target ROAS. Let's walk through together how to choose your bid strategy and how to adjust bids up or down depending on what you need. So let's make sure we're starting in the same place. Go to the overview section, and from there, you're going to click on campaigns. Then click into the campaign that you want to edit. Remember, bid strategies happen on the campaign level. So you can have one campaign on one bid strategy and another on a different one. Click on Settings when you're in the campaign, and it'll take you to this screen. From here, you'll see the budget, which you can set on a daily basis, and keep in mind, this is what it's going to spend over the course of a month. So it's very possible that if you're not running ads or your campaigns are paused for a couple days, it could spend more than $50, even twice that amount in one day, because over the course of a month, it can spend up to $50 in my case times 30.4, or the average days in a month. Then to adjust your bid and bidding strategy, you'll go right underneath budget, expand that box, and you'll see I have it currently on target CPA, but just click change bid strategy and then select a bid strategy directly, and you'll see the different options that are available. Now, what we're going to focus on is target CPA, maximize conversions, and target ROAS. You'll see maximize clicks and some other strategies. I would only recommend using maximize clicks if you don't have conversion tracking set up, which I'll show you in just a moment. Let's say we choose target CPA, select target CPA, and put in what you're willing to pay to acquire your customer, to get that lead. Maybe you want to do maximize conversions to start things off. You'll notice that now you don't get to choose a bid because it just is going to use your budget of $50 per day, and I promise you it will spend that amount. So whatever you set at your budget, be sure you're comfortable with spending that amount if you're going to use maximize conversions. And last but not least, we have target ROAS. Like target CPA, you can set your return on ad spend. It's going to be represented as a percentage. All this means is if you want to get 100% target ROAS, that means that for every dollar that you spend on Google Ads in your search campaign, you want to get at least $1 back. You want to break even. Now, if you want to be profitable, then maybe you set your goal as I need to at least make 20 cents on every dollar that I make, So I would set it at 120%. The lower this number is, the more it is able to get in terms of volume. The higher it is, the more strict you're saying that you're willing to go, and the more revenue per conversion that it's going to have to achieve. So just keep that in mind. Then that's bid strategies. That's budget. To adjust those bids, we showed that. You can do it on the ad group level for target CPA, but I wouldn't recommend that. If you're not sure where to find conversions, I'll show that final step there, which is in the tools in that wrench icon up here. Click on conversions underneath measurement. And then this is where you're going to want to add and set up your conversion tracking. I'm not going to go into great detail on how to set this all up, but be sure to get the right actions in here, and whatever is in this include in conversions column, that means that those bid strategies that we just talked about will use them, these conversion actions, this purchase conversion action, as a signal to look to get more of that. So if it's yes for purchases, that is what my target CPA strategy is going to use. And it is going to say, as we said back here, I'm willing to spend $25 to be able to get at least one purchase. And that means that if I can achieve that goal, I could get almost 2 purchases per day at this budget, because 50 divided by 25 is 2. Of course, I could get it for cheaper than 25, and that'd be great. And sometimes it'll be over. But over the course of a month, it's going to try to achieve that $25 per purchase that I set. And that's all it takes. Putting all these pieces together, a structure starts to form, with your account being at the top level, what your Google Ads account is that you're currently in. Then you have your campaigns. You could think of those as where your strategy happens, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The next layer is ad groups, and then the final layer and the most specific will be your keywords. A really great way to think about your campaign structure is looking at your website. What are the different tabs when I get to your website? That could be how your structure could be in your search campaign. For example, in this diagram, you can see that the overall website, clothes.com, that's what you're running in this Google Ads account. You have individual campaigns that are targeting different pages that have various products. The ad groups within those campaigns are going after those specific products. So women clothes, dresses, skirts, jackets. And then in the other campaign, you're targeting men's clothing. Different strategy, different products, ad groups being men's clothes, shirts, those products. And then within each of those ad groups, you have keywords that are associated with and themed into that product type that we see here. Now, in terms of what you can adjust on each level, on the campaign level, again, that is your strategy level. In campaign settings, you're able to set location targeting. Do you want to target the United States in one campaign and the UK in another? Do you want to adjust when your ads show? That happens on the campaign level. Ad scheduling happens on the campaign level. Do you want your ads to show in this campaign from 8 to 5 and this campaign over here during the nighttime? That is controlled on the campaign level. Also on the campaign level, very important, you set your budget. You cannot set your budget lower than the campaign level in terms of going to the ad group level. It happens on the campaign level. So one campaign for men's clothing could be spending $500, and women's clothing, which you're much more willing to spend more on, has $1,000. That happens on the campaign level, okay? So if you want different budgets for different products or services, you have to put them in a different campaign, not just a different ad group. Your bids happen on the campaign level, and although you're able to with target CPA set on the ad group level, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Set it on the campaign level, and if you do have a drastically different goal, create a different campaign and set it there. These are examples of very important settings that can only be changed on the campaign level. If you're comfortable with spending the same amount of money on men's clothes versus women's clothing and acquiring those customers, then put them in separate ad groups, and then that way you can put your keywords, right, and theme them into those individual ad groups. So you may also find that you only need one ad group and you want to do things more so on the campaign level. And so you have men's clothing in its own campaign and it's one ad group. That's absolutely fine. Gone are the days of putting in tons and tons of ad groups within a campaign and tons of keywords. Just one keyword and one ad group and one campaign could get you going, could get you started. The big question that everybody wonders is, what is the right structure for me? And the honest answer is, it depends. Everybody's products, services, businesses are different. So what your structure looks like is most likely going to be different than what is right for someone else. So keep that in mind. But one thing that I can recommend that I've seen work extremely well over the years is starting more broad rather than more specific, seeing what information, what data you get back, and then based on those findings, using that to then target more specifically in new campaigns. What did you learn from that broader campaign? Put it as a more specific match type, maybe phrase, maybe exact, set it in a new campaign, and guess what? You know it's going to work because you saw the results from running more broad. You saw the keywords that worked well, and now you could bid more on those and put a higher budget in a different campaign. So start with a larger pie, and then you could always slice away until you find the perfect structure that works for you and your business. Now we're back in our Google Ads account, and it's time to look at a campaign structure. And the best way to do that is to build a campaign. So I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get your first campaign up and running and what those different pieces are that we just went through. So make sure we're on the same page. From the selection on the left side, click Campaigns. Once you're here, you'll see the blue plus sign in a circle. Click on that and choose New Campaign. Go ahead and choose Create a Campaign without a goals guidance. Then we're going to talk about, of course, search. So click Search. And then you can add these in later, but if you want to just fill in this now, you can add in your website and it will cross over into the next section as well. But I'm just going to press Continue. Now you're going to name your campaign. So I'm going to build a campaign for this course, and I'm going to title this Search _ Google Ads Academy, which is my set of courses. And this campaign is going to be specifically looking at the Search 101, which is this course. And even more specifically, this is going to be courses, we'll say. So you can select which networks you want to show on. I wouldn't recommend starting on display network. Those don't usually perform too well. And I'm also going to click off of search partners because that expands into non-Google search partner sites. Not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm not looking to expand there yet. From here, we're going to see some different options. I want my ads to run all day, but again, only on the campaign level can you set when this actually runs. 8 to 5, 5 to 10, whatever it may be. But I'm going to do all day. Locations happens on the campaign level, right? So that's where you see this now. I'm seeing United States, US, and Canada as some early options that I could choose from. I could be more specific, but you know what? I'm going to target all of the US because I think my keywords are going to be focused enough that it's still going to be a good campaign. Your language targeting is on the campaign level. I'm just going to go after English. This is where you can add any audiences. This is important. Set any of these audiences on observation and not targeting. This just ensures that in observation, it doesn't actually narrow what your campaign focuses on. It is just going to collect that data, and you'll be able to see those as different line items. So it could be useful to identify audiences that work really well. And maybe you do want to put in their own campaign because audiences happen on the campaign level. They can be on the ad group level as well, but it's mostly for search campaigns, find what works, put it on observation, and you may be able to use that in another campaign later on. I don't have any audiences at this point, so I'm going to leave that blank. The budget happens on the campaign level as we discussed. So put what you're willing to pay. I'm going to say $50. That's $50 per day, as we talked about. Then you're going to choose your bid strategy. So I'm going to select maximize conversions. But of course, there's target CPA, target ROAS. But I'm choosing target maximize conversions because I'm just starting out and I'm not sure what cost I'm willing to pay to acquire my customers, and I'd like to find out. So I'm willing to spend $50 a day to see how many conversions, how many purchases of my course in this case I can get. Keep scrolling down. You can add extensions at this point. Extensions, although we didn't discuss them in this course, they're very important to take up more space. Site link extensions can go to different pages on your website. Call out extensions can state unique selling points of your business. Call extensions are adding a phone number if that's important to your business. Image extensions are new, and these are images that will show on mobile. Definitely would recommend checking that out. And there's other extensions to choose as well. The goal of these extensions is to add more information. So when the user types in on Google and sees your ad, yours stands out and has everything that they need to move forward and click on it. I'm okay with all those, so I'm going to press save and continue. And now it moves you on to the ad group section. So in the ad group section, this is that next layer. And so I'm going to group my ad groups by keywords. And so I'm going to call this one Google Ads Courses. And everything within this ad group, now it takes me to the keyword section, is going to be themed keywords that contain Google Ads Courses. So I'm going to put Google Ads Courses, Google Ads Course, near, or we'll say online, and then we could also do best Google Ads course. All of them contain Google Ads course, and that's how I want to theme that ad group. And in the same screen, you could do another ad group, and let's say I want this one to be a slight variation and see that difference. Google Ads Classes. And within this is Google Ads Classes, Google Ads Classes near me, and Google Ads. And we'll say, what was the other one I put here? Best Google Ads. So we'll add that last one in. And then I have my ad groups. They have their keywords in them, themed. One Google Ads Classes, one's Google Ads Courses. Now I'm going to create the ads. So I'm going to say this, and I already had my URL handy. This is the page I want it to go to. It's already recommending some examples. Include the keywords, of course, so be sure to add that in. And it even has some drop-down boxes potentially for you as well. What do you want to include in there? Google Ads Academy. I'm going to try some different headlines here. And again, be sure to include the keywords that you're bidding on. That's going to increase your quality score. We know what that is now. Google Ads Classes near me. You can also do your call to actions now. Buy now. Enroll today. Learn more. And make sure you fill in all your headlines. I'm going to leave it like that for now. Don't forget that you get up to 15. Your 4 descriptions. I'm going to say for my short description, Google Ads Courses for Beginners. Learn search in under 2 hours. Enroll today. That's my long one. My short one is learn search in under 2 hours by now. You get 2 more descriptions after that, of course. Don't forget to add those in. And I got my ad. Now, this ad, you can see, goes within the Google Ads classes. This one is Google Ads courses, and then you're going to want to make another ad, okay? I'm just going to continue forward. And that's it. You've just created your first campaign. Press publish, and your campaign's going to be live. If you're not ready to start spending money on advertising, be sure to go at the first screen that it takes you to in that corner and click from enabled to paused. And this will ensure that you're not spending any money until you're sure that everything's set up properly. But as you'll see, when I go backwards, the campaign name, search Google Ads Academy, Search 101 courses. Then the ad groups within this course, if I go to the ad group section, Google Ads classes, Google Ads courses. If I click on Google Ads classes, I'll see the keywords are all focused on Google Ads classes. And the ad is within that ad group. And overall, the campaign, and if I back out and look on the campaign level, it's on maximize conversions, $50 a day, English in the US, search network only, and it's up and running whenever I'm ready, and I could re-enable that. That's how easy it is to create your first search campaign, and I hope you have fun with it. We were able to learn all of the different parts and pieces that go into a campaign, and then we built our own campaign. Now it's time to look back at the results and figure out whether we're doing well or we can improve. That's what this module is all about. The first section, we're going to talk about measuring results. What metrics are available to you within Google Ads to know what is working and what isn't. Then we'll move on to talking about the search terms report, which is all about what search queries are triggering the keywords that we're bidding on. What keywords can we add, and what negative keywords should we put in to make sure we don't show up for those search queries. And we'll end this module by talking about what is called optimization score, which is just a recommendations tab that offers quick solutions to different opportunities within your account that you can apply, and they will be implemented right away. So we'll talk about what's in there. All right, let's get started on this module. A few metrics that you're going to see right away. Impressions. How many times that your ad was eligible, it was able to show, and did it show within the auction? It has the potential to get someone's eyes on that. Now, if someone clicks on it, then that's a click. And if you want to know how often someone sees it and then clicks it, out of all the people that have seen it, that's click-through rate. The higher your click-through rate, the more people saw it and acted on your ad, which tells you that you have a strong ad that draws in someone's attention. Now, what happens after that? Then you have conversions. They get to the page. Is that your conversion? They submit your lead form. If that's your conversion, you'll see that populated in the conversions column. Cost. What was the overall cost that you spent on that campaign, that ad, that keyword? You can see all those different levels. What was the cost that you spent to get that conversion. That is cost per conversion, or you'll see it as cost slash CONV, stands for conversion. That's what we've been talking about, is your CPA. That goes into your target CPA bidding strategy. So that is a very important metric, cost per conversion. Another metric you might see is CPC, or cost per click. It'll show as average CPC in the columns on the platform. Although this seems like an important metric, don't let it deter you from getting more of those purchases or leads, which you should really focus on cost per conversion. Now, if your cost per click is $30, which is possible for certain keywords, maybe it's emergency plumbing. There's a lot of companies bidding on that. It might be very competitive. CPC is important then because it guides you on choosing the keywords that you want to move forward with. If you can only spend $50 a day and the keyword just to get a click is $30, well then maybe that's not the right choice for you. But that being said, if someone types in emergency plumbing, they're probably going to go with you because they need help now, right? That's why it's more expensive, because it is easier to convert those people. But it could also just be more competitive. So you're going to have to find that balance. But don't let the cost per click scare you. Really focus on how many conversions, how many purchases, leads, consultations am I getting for the money that I'm spending. Cost per conversion, how many total conversions, and what is my overall cost for each of those pieces of my campaign. Keywords, ads, and ad groups. The easiest way to understand this is by jumping in and doing it together in the interface. So let's do that now. Let's start by making sure we're in the same place. So go ahead and make sure you're in the overview section of your Google Ads account. From there, go down to campaigns. That's where we'll start. To view the different metrics that are available to you, add them in or remove others, all you're going to have to do is go to this icon right here that should be 3 bars close together and should say columns underneath it. This is where you'll modify your columns. So click there. You'll see that there are several different drop-down boxes. Definitely click the performance drop-down box. So we want new clicks, cost, IMPR is impressions, click-through rate. There's some other metrics if these are important to you. I also want average CPC. And I think that is good. Then I'm going to look in conversions. I want conversions, cost per conversion, and conversion rate. All right, so now I have all my columns. And since these campaigns haven't run yet, you won't see data, but if you've ran your campaign at all, if it's gotten any sort of views on it, then you should see some numbers here. Now, as we go across, as we talked about, this is where you can see on the campaign level, how many people clicked on my ad. Pretty straightforward. How many people saw my ad, and how many times did they click it? So it'll even explain each of these metrics if you hover over them. Click-through rate. So my account overall has a 6% click-through rate. 6% of the time when my ads are eligible to show, they get clicked on, which is pretty good. What's your total cost? Remember, you could change the date range up in the corner. I'm looking at last 30 days. How much have you spent on these campaigns? Impressions. Again, if I hovered over it, how many times was it served when it was eligible? How many times was your ad seen? Conversions. Depending on what your conversion is, you're going to see that conversion in the conversion column. Cost per conversion. That's this number, cost, divided by your total conversions. How much money did it take to get that first conversion? That'll be your cost per conversion. And then average CPC, or average cost per click, you could see right here. And you could view these metrics on the campaign level, the ad group level, but just be aware, if you want to save your columns, how you had them set, make sure you save a column set. That way it won't change like it did for me as you go to the different layers of your campaign. On ad groups, we could do the same thing. What was the best ad group in terms of clicks? What was the worst in terms of click-through rate? We could go even deeper and look at the ads specifically. What ads had the most clicks? What ads led to the most purchases or lead form submissions? And how much did it cost to get there per conversion? And then the final level that you can look at is keywords. So what keywords had the most clicks? What keywords had the highest average cost per click? What keywords didn't get me any conversions but cost me a lot of money? You may want to take those out. So again, you could view it on any layer from the keyword level to the ads, to the ad groups, to the campaigns. And that's how you measure results. The search terms report is one of the most important reporting tools that you can use within Google Ads. You'll find it on the keyword section when you're in the platform, and when you expand that, you'll see search terms. That'll take you to the search terms report. What is in this report? Well, you know those keywords that we added and we're bidding on? Those are what we want to show up for. But what actually someone types is another story. In this report, we're going to break it down. And in the far left, you're going to see the search term that you showed up for. That is going to be related to a keyword that you're bidding on. So I have this image here that shows, here's your keyword that you're bidding on. Here's the search term that someone typed in on Google and triggered your keyword to show. And then you'll see the match type of the keyword that then connected and showed your ad. You'll see as we go down the list. The first example is purple flowers exact match. That was the keyword that we put in. So brackets around purple flowers. That then showed in our search terms report to someone typing in purple flowers. That's exactly the keyword what we wanted to show for, and that's what they typed in. So it was an exact match. So you know that it worked for that. How did that search term do for when someone specifically types in purple flowers? In the second example, we see that purple flowers is, again, the exact match is the one that triggered it, but it was a misspelling, missing the E, purple flowers without the E. That is an exact match close variant, which just means that it means the same thing as purple flowers, but they missed the E. That's it. So it may tell you that when someone types in the misspelling and types in it the actual way, sometimes one could be better than the other, believe it or not. The misspelling might convert more, who knows? But you could see to that level. The last example I want to go through on this table, because after that it is pretty straightforward, is purple flowers as broad match, and then someone types in free purple flowers, okay? That's phrase match because it was able to connect purple flowers. That is your term, right? It has to have that wording, but it also added free purple flowers. Now, if you're selling purple flowers, you might find that free purple flowers gets a lot of clicks, but not a lot of people purchasing because they're expecting something free. So just keep that in mind, and it'll be able to break it down that way to find the metrics that make sense, add those as keywords. The final step to all this is if you like what you see and that search term is something like, let's say, pink flowers did really well for you. It had a lot of conversions and you were originally just having purple flowers as your keyword. Then you just found a new keyword that you should add in and start bidding towards because you've known that people type that in, it converts and works well for you. That's why the search terms report is so powerful, because you could find new keywords to add, keywords to put as negatives so you don't show up for them, and it tells you all within a very easy to understand report. Here we go. In your Google Ads account, go to the overview section. Now that we're all starting from the same place, scroll down until you see on the left side, keywords. Go ahead and from there, select search terms. This is the search terms report. Just like we talked about, you see that the search term is on the far left that someone typed in on Google. The match type of the search term to the keyword. Added, excluded, that's if it's in your account already, you're bidding towards it, or if you're excluding, it's a negative, or none if it hasn't been added yet. And the campaign, ad groups, and all the metrics that we've also discussed connected to those search terms. So if we go through the first example, this is a business that is focused on water dispensers. If the keyword is 5-gallon water pump, then someone typed in 5-gallon water dispenser pump, it means the same thing. And it showed up as exact match. This may be something that I want to add if it performed well. Some of these others, they were connected as broad match. And you'll see this is an example of a search term that someone typed in. Since I had dispenser water pump as a broad match, it was able to pull in another brand, Dolphin, and I didn't want to show up for that brand because if someone's typing in that specific brand, they're probably looking for that product. So I excluded, I added that as a negative. How you do that is you could do it one by one, click that checkbox on the far left next to the search term, add as keyword if you want to keep it, start bidding towards it, or add as negative keyword if you no longer want to show for that. Make sense? And you could add all of them at once. You could add 3, 2, whatever you need to do. And again, you could see how each of these performs with all the metrics. And that's the search terms report. Optimization score. A very simple way to see how your account is doing. To get to the optimization score, you have to go into the top left section of your Google Ads account and you should see recommendations. Click on that and you're in the optimization score screen. What the optimization score is a percentage, 0 to 100. 100 being that your account is optimized to its fullest potential at this point, but it changes each day, every hour, as you collect more data, more information, more conversions, purchases, customers. Why should you use the recommendations tab and keep track of optimization score? Because it gives you a very quick glance into your account's health, yes, and it's personalized to what you're doing within your account. So what it recommends to me wouldn't be necessarily what it recommends to you for your business. It may recommend adding keywords or increasing budget or changing your ad creative. And it's only going to get better as it collects more information. It's also very quick, so it saves you a lot of time. So if you're someone that's juggling a lot of different responsibilities, then this could be a great way to find what the quick fixes are to really improve the performance of your account. And all of this, again, could be found in this easy section in the recommendations tab, which we're going to go through right now to see it in action. let's see the recommendations tab and optimization score in action. Start on the overview section within your Google Ads account. From there, go down to recommendations. And here we are. You'll see the optimization score in the left corner, and mine says 90.3. It's out of 100%. So doing pretty good, an A minus. Now, here are some examples of the recommendations that it's offering to me. You can click on all, and that's what it would start as, to see in order what it's going to tell you, most likely in order of the impact on your account. But if you wanted to narrow it down, you could see that I have recommendations for repairs, fix your audience source with no activity, keywords and targeting, expand your reach with Google search partners, and ads and extensions. I should add a description to my site links, and I could view more of those recommendations here. And it tells me potentially what the impact is. It's all here. And if I want to implement one, it's as simple as, if you want to implement them all at once, pressing apply all, or if you want to see individual recommendations, click what they are, and you can expand further, and it will take you to then, in this case, create my descriptions for my site link, and I could apply them, and it did everything in terms of navigating me through the interface on its own, which was great. Use the recommendations tab to your advantage, and I promise you it's going to make it a lot easier to improve your account's performance and really be competitive with your search campaigns.